Hey, beautiful. Welcome to Dr. Sarah's Cafe. This is your weekly refill. So, I am really excited to be back from my birthday vacation now. This is actually what I look like, my energy, my vibe at 39 after my 39th solar return. Thank you to everyone who wished me a happy birthday, either in the comments or just in your heart and your mind, or via text or call, that sort of thing. So, this week we are moving into a new season. It's really exciting. Okay, so I love Gemini season. Obviously, it's my favorite season. It's my birthday season, but we are going to be changing seasons this week, and that makes the week pretty special. So let's get into the flavor of the week. What is it for us? We have solid foundation. So the flavor of the week is solid foundation. And you notice the color scheme is very tropical, sunshiny, aqua, ocean, Hawaii inspired. But the ingredients for this flavor of the week have a lot to do with the sun entering Cancer. So I mentioned we were changing seasons. Specifically, we're moving from Gemini season into Cancer season. And what that means for us is that the focus is going to shift to things related to home, family, domestic life in general, collectively, but it depends on where Cancer is in your birth chart. So if you want me to do a video on birth charts, please let me know. But in general, the energy of Cancer is about the foundations of our lives, our roots, our heritage, our upbringing, right? That nurturing, home life, domestic life, right? And in thinking about solid foundations, this includes the upbringing that we had, how we grew up in our immediate home environments as children, but also our legacies, the things we've inherited through generations from ancestors, our lineage and heritage. And so roots and foundations could be, yes, the physical home. It could be the family, your home family. It could be the even the religious upbringing that you might have had, or the cultural upbringings that you've had, right? And thinking about solid foundations, the deeper they are, the higher you can go. So I'll get more into that piece of it for to come. But let's look at some more of the astro ingredients. Next, we have one that I'm pretty excited about, which is Mercury and Venus entering into Cancer and being conjunct when they enter into Cancer. So Mercury and Venus coming together in this way, that means our thoughts, Mercury, and conversations and details are going to be, again, shifting to Cancer themes of home, family, nurturing, domestic life, well-being. And then Venus is also going to be applied to those areas of life as well. So love, even more romance, right? So Cancer is a very loving, nurturing, caring sign. So Venus being in that energy just adds more sweetness and material abundance, maybe coming into, or the feeling of abundance and just the good life, beautiful life, whatever that means for you and your home and family setting, right? And so home and domestic life, or whatever you make it. And this is really important here that I want to stress, is that some people might look back at their home life or the heritage, the foundations that their parents set for them and think like, oh, I'm doomed. But once you have autonomy, you are empowered to create a home life for yourself. You are empowered to build a new foundation, or to build on top of the foundation that was set for you before, or to create your own rituals and routines, right? And so that includes things like your daily routines, your health routines, thinking about the foundations, the structure of your life. So where did your life need more nurturing and structure? And so, yeah, it's good to reflect during Cancer season about our heritage, our lineage, our family of origin. But it's also really, really important to, again, reclaim our power and say, what domestic reality do I want to create for myself now? What home life, home environment do I want to create for myself today? How can I create a solid foundation for my life in terms of how I deal with my finances, how I deal with my health, how I approach my day, my schedule, my time, what's on my agenda for the week, my doctor's visits and my appointments with my therapist and going to group counseling and that sort of thing. The things that really become the foundation for you being able to thrive and go out and pursue your hobbies and pursue your goals and your dreams and your vision, your higher vision, right? And so the question we can ask is, do you have a solid foundation on which to build the vision for your life? And it goes without saying, but I'm asking myself these questions as well. I'm not just here preaching at you all, but it's a collective, and I'm part of the collective message. So, do we have solid foundations on which to build the vision for your life? And I'm thinking very, very practically, if you want to buy a new home, what is your financial situation? Do you have a solid financial foundation? Do you have savings for a down payment? Do you keep up with your monthly bills? Do you have the time to keep up with the maintenance on the house, or the extra cash flow to pay someone else to keep up with the maintenance on your house? And so thinking about, and I think I'm using the house example because we're talking about domestic life. So this is a good reflection as the sun is shifting signs on June 20th towards the end of the week. Oh, also happy Juneteenth to my folks, to everyone. Now, there's one more astrological ingredient that is super, super important. It is the Capricorn full moon, which is happening on June 21st, on Saturday. And Capricorn is opposite Cancer. It's the opposite sign of Cancer. So whenever we have a new moon, we have a full moon in the opposite sign. Whenever we have a full moon, we're going to have a new moon in that opposite sign as well, right? So it's the moon is new on one side of the wheel, and then it does a 180 rotation and it goes to the opposite side of the circle and it becomes full, right? And so with the sun and the new moon being in Cancer this month, we're going to have the moon moving to Capricorn to become full on the 21st. And so Cancer being the opposite of Capricorn, we have home and domestic life versus, or opposite, public life. So home versus going out into the world and being somebody or being seen as someone, whether it's your career, your reputation, your how the world knows you. What does the world see you as? So the larger public, and the world is relative. It doesn't mean the whole world literally, but your public world, your public life. How are you known in public? Do you go by a certain name? Do you have a certain title or a certain position in public life, etc.? And so full moons have a lot to do with culmination, completion, release, apexes, fruition, giving birth to things. So remember, the new moon is when you plant the seed, and a full moon is when it blooms, when it blossoms, when you see it bearing fruit. And revelations and reveals, because the moon, the full moon rather, is the brightest moon phase. So as the moon is going through its cycle every 28 days, it's at its brightest when it's full. It means it's completely illuminated by the sun's reflection, right? And so the path is lit. And so that oftentimes comes with things being revealed to us, things coming to light, right? Or having some type of revelation. And letting go is also a big theme that comes around with full moons. And so in the sign of Capricorn, that Capricorn energy has a lot to do, again, with public life. And so it ranges from things like your business, career, building things like what you're building, but also actual buildings, infrastructure, again, that public status, and then public life and infrastructure, right? It just makes so much sense when I think about the foundations of my home and domestic life, allowing me to build on top of that with this Capricorn energy, right? So Cancer, home, domestic life, foundations, roots, allowing us to build with this Capricorn energy, skyscrapers and towers, or huts and tents and, trees, and just whatever that foundation enables us to build. Okay. I think that's what I wanted to say here. Now for the tarot ingredient, we have the Chariot. And this one I did not shuffle and pull. I pulled the Chariot because it is the card that represents the sign of Cancer. Okay, so each of the zodiac signs have a card that represents them in the tarot deck. And so in the tarot deck, the Chariot card represents the sign of Cancer. And this is what it looks like here. This is one of the traditional depictions of the Chariot. It was designed by a woman of color, woman of Jamaican ancestry. So just putting that out there. And what that means is triumph, victory. You know, you can kind of see he's like in his chariot, right? Chariot, victory, triumph. And also ambition, being on a mission, like having a direction for your life, having a goal, like going somewhere. And it's also about harnessing confidence and willpower. So the depiction I have on the screen is two seahorses. And so oftentimes chariot cards in various tarot decks are represented by horses or things that propel chariots in some way. So sleigh dogs, etc. So this one being two seahorses, I think it's appropriate because Cancer rules the moon and all of that is very watery. It's a watery sign, watery symbol. And you see that they're kind of going in two directions. They're pointing in two different directions. And so a lot of times we have a hard time managing the chariot. Like there could be chaos. It can kind of be moving too fast or not be moving at all. Or maybe there are, one horse wants to move and the other one doesn't, right? And so it takes a lot of skill, a lot of willpower to harness that movement and that momentum in our lives, right? And so I think that that's where the structure and the foundations are going to come in allowing us to have the power within us to direct and steer our chariots, our carriages in the direction towards the destinations that we want to go, towards the destinies that we are aiming for. And the last bullet point here is aligned action. And people say that, and I'm realizing in the moment that not everyone knows what that means when we say aligned action. And so when you think about the previous episodes I've done about following your heart, listening to your heart. Another way to think about it is to listen to divine guidance, listening to your higher self, and taking action that feels true and authentic and in alignment with what your heart really feels, what your heart really knows, what your intuition, your deep intuition is telling you, not your fear, but your actual intuition, your gut feeling, your love, your joy, your peace, all these things, actions that get into alignment with that, right? That line up with that. And that's how you can become able to steer this carriage, this vessel, towards the destiny that it is built for. Yeah. All right. So the divinity leaves for today is another Dream Homes card. And I pulled this card a while back when I was preparing the slides in advance. And we had Dream Homes last week. And so Dream Homes again this week. I did shuffle for these cards. So the fact that they are coming out in this way, with home being the focus as we move into Cancer season, as I've been saying, makes a lot of sense to me. I hope it makes some sense to you too if you're watching. And so the affirmation here is, I am manifesting my ideal home in every way. And I really want to speak to this. I am manifesting my ideal home in every way. And for some of you, this could apply to like that house, the ideal house that you want. And then for many of us, it's also the ideal pattern of our life, the ideal structure of our life. So for some of you, it might be less literally the house that you live in and more so the life that you're creating for yourself. One where like, oh, I'm at home. I have my morning ritual. I have my little afternoon walk, and I have my bedtime journaling or prayers or meditation. Whatever it is that makes you feel at home, this is a perfect time to create that. This is a perfect time to lean into that. And if you don't know what that is yet, this is also a perfect time to think about it, to reflect on it, to journal about it, to sit with it, maybe to meditate on it. Okay. So the bulletin board announcement that I have for today, I'm really, really excited, y'all, because I have dropping new merch in the boutique. And a couple of things are cafe culture related. Steeped in Love, my Steeped in Love tea. I haven't ordered mine yet. And also my hot tea shirt. Okay, I'm loving it, loving the puns, loving the visual puns, the verbal puns. But then I also have a new line of zodiac teas that are humorous, somewhat lighthearted, I think, sort of fun takes on each of the zodiac signs. So they're all different. And you can see the one that shows up here is the Gemini t-shirt. I'm excited to get that one. I had two versions of the Gemini t-shirt because I was like, if I do see multiple series of these zodiac t-shirts, then the Gemini should have two t-shirts every time, not just because I'm a Gemini, but because Gemini is the sign of the twins, right? So just in case there are actual Gemini twins, they can each buy a t-shirt. So I have to re-upload the second design, but I really love this one, the visual pun on Gemini, right? So check that out if you're interested in what I have there. Even if you don't purchase, I really just want people to see my work. So please click and take a look. Let me know if you like the designs, if you resonate with any of them, etc. Okay, so our pastry and poetry, and it's still coming from our summer book club. And this week's pastry is chocolate fudge brownies, and I found a depiction of them that looked so delicious with the cherries. Need I say more? Okay. And so again, that's also very closely tied to the energy of Cancer. A lot of people will say that Cancers like to cook for people, like they like to express their love, like one of their love languages is cooking, especially when they're cooking for other people. But also this book being a love story, and a really romantic one. I decided to read the first page of a later chapter 4. So I read from the beginning of chapter 1, the beginning of chapter 2, and I'm skipping ahead a little bit to chapter 4 for our pastry and poetry segment. And again, the book is A Love Song for Ricky Wilde by Tia Williams. And we will be doing a live discussion and read along. Even if you don't read the book, join the discussion, okay? If you don't mind spoilers, because I want to have fun with it. And so I'll read just a couple of paragraphs. February 3rd, 2024. That was recent. Ricky was standing at her Wild Things workstation on the heels of the slowest day at the shop thus far. Aside from the delivery guy from Sexy Taco, it'd become her favorite restaurant. No one had rung the buzzer all day. After consulting her budgeting software, she realized that her problem was money. She was spending lavish amounts on the most exotic, precious breeds. Her designs were breathtaking, the kind that garnered her a massive IG following. But in real life, this quality over everything approach was going to bankrupt her. I need to budget more wisely, she thought, tucking a fancy bougainvillea stem into a wreath. I need to stop thinking about him. I need to stop thinking about him. With a frustrated groan, she squeezed her eyes shut and shook her head. Garden Gentleman's face kept popping into her brain. Rudely and unexpectedly, he was a 6'2" intrusive thought. It was just a random encounter, just two people startling each other in the dark. So why did her stomach drop 15 floors every time she thought of him? We will have to finish reading the book to find out. Myself included. I have to finish reading the book before our summer book club. All right, folks. So your to-go or your takeaway is my true success begins at home. And home begins with me. So, if you've seen my TED Talk, you know how I feel about home. In my TED Talk, I say, I am home. Me, my vessel, my space, my aura, my bubble, my zone of influence. I am the first home, and I can work and do what's within my power and my capacity to make my physical home environment, my outward domestic life, reflect the home that I am and the home that I envision, imagine, and want for myself. Okay? I really sincerely hope that this weekly refill helps you to refill your spiritual cup and to keep it full, keep it overflowing. And I hope to see you in the next video. Take care. Much love.